we're back. This is CCW TV, the Comic Culture Warrior video channel. I'm Elliot Serrano, and this...
Almost did it again.
I almost did it again, and this is Jose Melendez. Although I guess I want to be you right now. We are coming to you from Dreamland Comics in Schaumburg, Illinois, where every week or so, Jose and I get together to talk about comics and include you on the conversation. I'm going to say this. I don't think comics has ever been so interesting as they have been, I want to say the last year or so. There's been a lot to talk about and rant about. And I also want to... Oh, I'm sorry. I got to redo the intro. Hold on. And hello, everyone. Welcome to the DC Comics Culture Warrior channel.
Yes.
Oh, every once in a while, because I said as comics get interesting, every once in a while, we'll get a commenter on the boards that just make me chuckle. They make me chuckle. And don't get me wrong, every comment on the CCW boards are welcome, but sometimes someone really goes out of their way to distinguish themselves. And to you, dear commenter who said that we are the DC Comics Warrior channel, I want you to go back maybe like
first 6 months.
6 months.
The entire first 6 months of last year.
Last year. You're going to hear us bitch about Final Crisis. You're going to hear me bitch about Countdown. Oh my God, I hated Countdown. Countdown being a weekly book that in the end was kind of like inconsequential. That everyone was buying that book because they had, if you bought it, you had to get the whole story, and then it ended up that the story didn't really mean anything.
Yeah, also back in those 6 months is the most epic review we've ever done.
Oh, yeah.
The 3-part The Battle for the Cowl.
The Battle for the Cowl, which is the one that people speak of that in hushed tones. It is of legend, the thing that legends are made of. So Battle for the Cowl really got this one's ire here. It was a glorious thing. You've got to go back and watch it. So, and I have a feeling right now the pendulum's going to swing at some point, maybe somewhere, and you'll see us ranting about DC again, but we're not there yet.
I'll kind of have a mini rant about DC when we get to our second book here.
But let's jump into Blackest Night, which is something that everyone loves when we talk about it. Green Lantern, issue number 50, which was one of those nice little fill-in issues when you didn't have a Blackest Night book.
Yeah, there's no actual Blackest Night issue coming out, and this is like Blackest Night number 6.5.
6.5.
Yeah.
Jose said, dude, you got to read this book. It's a great fill-in. And actually, this was, since we're talking about CBR a lot and their reviews, and mind you, I do respect. I love comic book resources. I check out the site all the time. I have a lot of respect for those guys, and I love their reviews. They gave
something brown on your nose there.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Kyle. This was really a fun issue because it had these nice little character moments, and again, Jeff Johns taking all the things that he's been setting up before and just following through. My one favorite part in this book, if I can just jump in and say, because Mara has now become a Red Lantern, and spoiler alert, she's confronted by Arthur Curry and their dead son. The dead baby. And the Arthur Curry Black Lantern is trying to give her, get under her skin and say the whole, look, I loved our son too. I loved him so. He's, like I'm dead, he's dead. And what does Mara say? Because she's in the midst of, the rage that a Red Lantern feels. She goes, I never wanted children. And then boom! Just incinerates the baby.
That's pretty awesome. I'm not a big fan of kids.
That was, I'm telling you, that completely took me by surprise. But you know what? To me, it fit perfectly.
Yeah.
It fit perfectly. Because now you have Jeff Johns really taking this secondary character and elevating her.
Yeah, we've been talking about what he's been doing with Mara ever since like the second issue about how he's been taking this like forgotten character that no one's done anything with, and he's actually making her like a big player in the DCU, which is actually pretty cool.
He's done with we've said this before. Jeff Johns has done with Mara what Jeff Parker has done with Namora.
Yeah,
which was basically made them badasses and really cool. So so we're bouncing around. Hal Jordan is in the midst of rallying all the lanterns, all the different lanterns, to fight the Black Lanterns over Earth. And the big bad of this particular issue is the Spectre, the Black Lantern Spectre, and figuring out how they're going to beat him. And it's not just a matter of taking out the ring that particular Black Lantern is wearing, because they try all the customary strategies and it just doesn't seem to work. Lex Luthor with the ring, pretty cool. The Scarecrow, great moment with the Scarecrow in there
some
too.
Cool. I mean, all of the deputized lanterns are all good choices for the most part. But I need to pause and give mad props to Doug Mankey yet again for like bringing it on this issue. Man, him and Patrick Gleason on these Green Lantern books, Jesus Christ, man. They were fucking making these books. I mean, the writing is good, but good writing with not the art, with not having the art to back it up, is just a good read.
Right.
And this makes it a great read.
It's a great read, yes. Because there are some really they're like holy shit moments in here. And for everything that Captain America Reborn tried to be with the different splash pages and all that going on, it wasn't as effective. Here it really is used effectively.
Yeah, and I wish we would have reviewed it, but we didn't. But the last issue of Green Lantern Corps, it was the same exact thing, where there were actually 2 or 3 splash pages, but every single one was there for a purpose. It was a huge thing, and that's why they were splash pages.
Right.
Whereas when you get it in Reborn, it's just like meh. It's like Captain America jumping like over 2 pages. Whereas you get these splash pages in here, and they're really to show off some awesome shit going down.
They show some awesome shit, and they really give you that sense of awe and wonder of the story. So no, you're absolutely right. Doug Mankey, now you know why he was brought in. Well, so when we talk about Final Crisis, we know why he was brought in to try to finish Final Crisis. And it really makes me wonder, how would Final Crisis have been had Doug Mankey done the entire series?
Yeah, we had talked about that back in those reviews, that why didn't Doug Mankey just do the whole thing? Because he did do the 2 Superman 3D issues that were Final Crisis, which were pretty much essential to the Final Crisis. Yeah, and then we did talk about that, because he gets stuff out on time. He's an awesome artist, and they should have. But I think they realized that they fucked up with Doug Mankey on that.
They want to give him an event. Yeah.
So I wish that he would have gotten the Blackest Night books to do, but I understand why Ivan Reis got it, because he's been the Green Lantern artist since almost the beginning.
Right.
So he did deserve to get that. So I don't have a problem with that at all.
But it's not like they're Green Lantern is necessarily a second-tier book, though. Because
not anymore.
Yeah, when you read Green Lantern, like you said, this feels like Blackest Night 6.5, and there are a lot of moments that are built into this that give Doug Mankey a chance to really, show his stuff off.
And getting back into the whole conversation about everything that takes place in, every big part of the story should take place in a miniseries and not in the tie-ins.
Right.
I might have an issue with this a little bit because of that, but there is no Blackest Night issue this entire month. So this is essentially replacing that book. So that's why I don't have a big problem with the tie-in having a big chunk of the story, because chances are people who bought Blackest Night were just had a skip month, and you just replace it with this book. It's $3.99. It's 30 pages of art. It's the same exact price point as the other thing, as the other miniseries. So,
and this really read more like the main Blackest Night book to me.
Yeah,
it read like the main issue, the main mini to me. So, yeah, what can you say? Really good. really good. This is an event the way the events should be done, and it's no surprise that right now Green Lantern is the one of the top selling DC books. That Jeff Johns, when he went back to DC and said he wanted to restore Green Lantern as that beacon of hope in the DCU, he set out to do it, and he succeeded. I've got one issue with this book, though. Got one big issue.
What?
Why did you have to give away the ending on the cover? I mean, you read the book, and you're like, okay, but why?
It would have.
You know?
I agree with that, but I think it got a lot of people. All right, and I'm glad you brought that up, because we were talking. You just said we were talking about how Jeff Johns has turned Green Lantern around into the biggest DC book right now, and it's only fitting that Parallax come back, because this is what killed Hal Jordan for almost everybody.
That's
and this
true.
What Parallax killed Hal Jordan for a lot of people. It made him the most despised character in comics, and then they killed him and he went away. I kind of like that they're doing this, because it is coming full circle now. Now that he's bringing back the most despised chapter of Hal Jordan's existence into this, and I'm interested to see what he's going to do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's cool. He's not afraid to go there,
right,
to where a lot of people might not want him to go.
Right.
But I'm interested to see what he does with it.
And there are 2 issues left in the main series, so
yeah,
to bring that whole thing to a close. And then another Blackest Night tie-in was Starman number 81, which I'd referred to this before. When I found out that there was going to be a Starman number 81, I was giddy. Mind you, no, Tony Harris didn't do the interiors on it, which would have been great, but he does do the cover. And this book here, actually, I think will fit nicely in my Starman collection, because Tony was pretty faithful to the overall cover design of all the previous Starman books. I gotta say, if you were a Starman fan like myself, and you read, I mean, I read the full, I have the whole collection of books. I have all the books. I have many of the trades. I have to fight myself to keep myself from buying the omnibus every time I come in here, because I'm like, well, I already have all these books. This is a nice little trip back to Opal City to meet some of the characters that I hadn't seen in a really long time. And I knew that there were some folks, I know some had commented on the boards that I'm not going to get my old Starman back. And I don't think you really can get the old Starman back, unless, again, they had managed to bring back Tony Harris on this book. Mm-hmm. But I'm not sure Tony Harris would have been able to pull off this book, the tone that it was done in. The art by Fernando Dagnino with breakdowns with finishes by Bill Sienkiewicz was a real interesting choice. And I gotta say, was a little jarring at first, but I enjoyed it. Although I wish Sienkiewicz was a little more refined. He keeps doing this kind of scratchy inking stuff that I know is really his forte. That's the way he does it now. But I kind of wish he had kind of gone back a little bit to the old Neil Adams style that he used to do early in his career, just so it could be a little more finished. But beyond that, to see the Shade again, to see the O'Hara sisters, brother and sisters, and the little bit at the end when the Shade confronts the Black Lantern David Knight, which was really cool. You know, was this an earth-shaking, you must read this issue Blackest Night tie-in? Not really. You know, it's kind of like the old, you could have taken it and put it away, unless you were a big Starman fan like myself. And this is a nice little epilogue, so it gives you a little catch-up as to what the characters have been going on, what's been going on with the characters since issue 80 ended those many years ago.
My little mini rant that I'm going to do about this really quick is that, so it was Blackest Night skip month, so all of these, 8 or 10 one-shots came out that continued old series. The original solicitations for almost all of these books were almost completely different than what we actually got. Some writers were completely changed. Some writers only wrote half the issue while they brought down another co-scripter. Like the Adam and Hawkman that came out this week was supposed to be Ryan Sook. Ryan Sook only did half of it, and then someone else did it. So almost every one of these books didn't match the solicitation. And that's getting kind of sloppy.
Yeah.
And the fact that the Catwoman one was the one that I really would have wanted to have bought if they would have brought Will Pfeiffer and David Lopez back. Neither one of them was anywhere on that book, and instead they had like 3 or 4 different artists on Catwoman. This whole thing felt a bit rushed. I don't know if it was originally part of the plan. I think it was a cool idea that they had, and they were like, well, maybe we should do this. It'd be a good idea to bring some of these old books back. Execution was terrible.
Yeah.
It was absolutely terrible.
I can see where you'd say that. I mean, mind you, I wasn't as emotionally invested in the Catwoman book like you were. I do understand, though, had they had somebody else besides James Robinson write Starman, I would have been just equally pissed.
Right.
I would have said, what is the whole point behind it? Mm-hmm. What is the whole point?
And that was my whole, that was the whole thing with me with Catwoman. It's like, what's the point? You're not going to have Will Pfeiffer on it? What the fuck's the point?
Right. I get it. All right, so there we go. Here, in the DC Comic Culture Warrior channel, we sometimes do take issue with DC. When we come back, we'll have Last Rant. What it's going to be about, I'm not sure yet, but I'm sure it'll be something. We'll see you then.